welcome to an extra hot episode of
Extra hot, baby.
Hot
See?
Pod, brought to you by Playbook Sports. I'm Anthony. To my right, I got the GOAT, the throat GOAT, Wilson Wang.
That's crazy.
Willie Will, what's good?
Yeah, man, we got some good ball talk here. Top 10 fantasy running backs for the 2024-2025 season.
Yup.
If you watched the other video, we talked about 20 to 11. Had some great talk on there, some great takes, some bad takes too. I mean, you guys make the decision, you know. But
No bad takes on this side of the table.
Nah,
Never.
Bad. Nah, just only opinions.
Never. No, only facts.
Only facts.
Only facts. Yeah. Today we're going to be running through our top 10, but before we do that, make sure you guys like, subscribe, and follow. Make sure you guys follow us on X, Instagram, TikTok, all that. Yeah, let's just get straight to it. Who's your number 10? You could start off this one.
Number 10, I'm just going to piggyback off of the last video. I had David Montgomery.
You have David Montgomery finishing higher than Gibbs?
Yeah.
Really?
I like him, man.
Did he do that last year? He did.
They did. And they really honestly stayed pretty consistently next to each other. So it's like having them back to back like that isn't that crazy to say. They're both really good running backs. They have Montgomery, obviously more experience before, a lot more years in the league. I think that's going to contribute to him finishing before Gibbs.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not too mad at that. I have him in pretty close places. I think Gibbs might overtake him this year, especially in the red zone. But, hey, what do I know? I just talk ball.
We just talk.
My number 10, I have Saquon Barkley.
Sheesh.
I think that's a little lower than most. I just don't see the running back upside in a Philly system. Like, with the tush push, with all of their kind of, like, we debated last week. I think Devontae Smith is probably their best receiver in the red zone. You said A.J. Brown. But having two dudes that good, is scary. Goddard's there also. Hurts is there to scramble. Hurts is also there to tush push. I think it caps Saquon Barkley a little bit. Too many mouths to feed. I think, situation-wise, New York might have been better for him as a fantasy running back.
I could agree, honestly.
Yeah.
I could agree with that. Yeah, I mean, Saquon Barkley, what did he finish last year?
He finished as the running back 6 last year.
6?
Yeah.
So it's like, obviously new system, like you said, in Philadelphia. So it's like we really don't know how these running backs are gonna transition into the new system that they're in. I had him a lot higher though. I guess we could talk about it a little bit later. For my number 9 spot, this is where I had Isaiah Pacheco.
Okay, not mad at it.
Yeah, we talked about that a little bit more in the last video. I really like the position he's in Kansas City, and I feel like throughout the years, since they switched on from different offensive coordinators here and from there, I think now, I don't think Mahomes has really worked with a top back like that. I feel like.
Didn't he play with Kareem Hunt for half a season?
Yeah, half a season, and they had I think Damian Williams who had a great season.
Breakout.
But it's all those guys, they really only had 1 year to go off, and the next year they had to fall off. You know.
Yeah.
I think Isaiah Pacheco is probably the first running back that Mahomes has worked with to come back and probably be as consistent as he did last year. Last year he finished as the what?
Who? Pacheco?
Pacheco.
The RB 17.
17. So it's I have him a few more spots up at 9. So I think one more year in the league, he's got more experience, more things to work with. This offense is going to be the best offense that Mahomes is going to work with, honestly. So
yeah, it's ridiculous.
It's crazy, man. And
ridiculous.
he has no really other competition in the backfield either. So
have we ever seen a team in any sport win a championship and get this much better the next year?
Dude, I know. That's what I'm saying.
They didn't really lose anyone.
No.
Except the corner. Sneed.
But it's more on the defensive side. But, if you add that much to the offense, it's you're not even really worried about it.
No, never. And, they saw a lot of success with Pacheco in the playoffs last year. I don't see why they would go away from that. If that's how you win a Super Bowl, why would you go away from it? I don't care who the fuck you got on your offense.
Absolutely.
But my number 9, I got another young dude a little bit better for me. Jahmyr Gibbs. I think, we kind of talked about already, but last year he played 15 games and had 11 touchdowns in a split backfield. Yeah. Like, there is so many factors there that could go against him, whether that's coming off of injuries, all that, and he still had 11 touchdowns. He's still younger than a lot of rookies that were drafted last year. The offense won't get worse. Like, why would he drop farther? I think he improves, if anything. So going from the RB10 to the RB9, I don't think is unrealistic at all.
That's not. No, definitely. I'm not mad at it, honestly. I think that's a potential, honestly, for him. Like you said, split back, and he had that kind of numbers is crazy, man.
Crazy.
And I feel like nowadays in this league, I feel like we're going to see that a lot from, like, probably for, like, next decade, honestly. Because it's like we're seeing a lot of these other teams draft rookie running backs when we kind of see that, like, they already have a solidified RB1. So I think a lot of these teams are trying to take that into action, like the Detroit offense.
Ooh, I like the way you ended that sentence.
Yeah.
You look at a lot of the top guys, too, that had split backfields, like Jonathan Taylor. Like, he was competing with, like, Zach Moss. Bijan Robinson, he was competing with, like, Algier. Derrick Henry last year was competing with Tajay Spears. You know? He was competing with David Montgomery. Like, that's a top back in the NFL.
Yeah.
And he still, like, damn near outperformed him in 15 games.
No.
To me, he had a great year.
Yeah, definitely. And then I feel like a lot of these cases is, like, you know, they want to – there's so many times where, like, running backs get hurt, right? I feel like they're, like, one of the most, like, volatile, like, position. Yeah, so it's like you want to be safe in having another running back in the back. Mm-hmm. So I'm not mad at that for sure.
Hell no.
Number 8 is where I had Travis Etienne.
Okay.
Do you have him on your list?
I have him higher though.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, I mean, I feel like you didn't like Travis Etienne. I don't know why.
I have him in Dynasty. I drafted him in Dynasty.
Okay.
I think I might have faded a bet for you. Maybe.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, Travis Etienne, like, he's in a position in Jacksonville where it's like obviously he's the go-to guy when it comes to the ball runner. Tank Bigsby, no real competition right there, man. Like, so it's like Etienne's gonna be that guy for sure. Trevor Lawrence, you know, down here, he's going to bounce back. That Jaguars offense, they don't really have, like, they have 3, like, you know, okay receivers, but it's like, who's going to be the number 1 guy in there? That's going to be Travis Etienne.
I think losing Ridley and Zay, although it's like those are big hits, obviously, I think this offense, it's kind of like what we talked about with Kamara. Mm-hmm. Like, if they get rid of Kamara, the Jaguars' offense is going to have a lot more, like, pop next year. Mm-hmm. Like, it's going to be a lot more fun than, like, Calvin Ridley being a smart route runner or Zay Jones being a great run-blocking receiver. Like, they're going to make a lot of big plays, and I think that opens up the field for Etienne. And I took the same note for Etienne that I did for Ken Walker, bro. Last year was supposed to be Tank Bigsby's year to prove it, and he did. He proved his ass. He's dog shit.
Yeah.
He is not taking – Etienne had 75% of that team's carries with, like, a dude that's supposed to be the second guy to him. So
definitely,
it's scary hours for him. But my number 8, I feel strong about this dude, bro. I feel strong after my research about this dude, and that's James Cook.
James Cook at number 8.
Listen, James Cook last year finished as the RB11.
Uh-huh.
They don't have Diggs. They don't have Gabe. They lost a lot of their competition, or a lot of, like, target competition. James Cook's going to be the dump-off guy. When they don't know what to run, James Cook's going to run the ball. And James Cook last year had 44 receptions for 445 yards. Like, when he catches the ball, he's explosive with the ball. So he could definitely ball out in the pass game. In the run game, rush for 1,100 yards as well. And he finishes the RB11 last year with only 6 touchdowns. I promise he's not going to only have 6 touchdowns next year.
What do you think?
I think he could be 6 touchdowns total.
Yeah.
He had 4 receiving touchdowns and 2 rushing touchdowns.
Okay.
I think he could definitely have 9 rushing touchdowns next year.
Rushing.
And add 4 receiving touchdowns, 13 touchdowns next year, 1,200 yards, 500 in the air, bro. Like, this dude is going to have – this is my sleeper next year. This guy's a clear-cut RB1. There's no competition in the backfield. If you believe in Ray Davis, like, you're a dynasty player. You're not a fantasy this season player, you know? Yeah. And the Bills' defense doesn't look bad. Like, they lost some players, but their cornerbacks and safeties look decent next year. I'm excited to see what they do.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think if Buffalo, if they want to win games, James Cook is definitely going to have to get touchdowns for them.
Yes.
I'm not mad at that, honestly. Even though I had him, like, a lot lower than you on our last video, I really hope the best for him. I mean, I like James Cook. I feel like he's gonna do this for his brother.
Won me my Super Bowl in fantasy.
Shout out James Cook.
Shout out Ian Clark.
Sheesh. Damn. RB7 for me. This is where I had Kyron Williams. You had him a lot lower in the last video, but I like him. I'm not really too worried about Blake Corum. I know he's like Blake Corum's more of like a win now running back, but he can still get implemented and still produce. I mean, we see that with Detroit, with Montgomery and Gibbs, and like a lot of the running backs as well. But I really like Kyron Williams, and I think what he did last year really sparked up a lot of attention for McVay and the offensive coordinators. So RB7, I think that's pretty realistic for him, in my opinion.
I think it's realistic for sure. I just don't believe in it. I don't see him at that. Like the dudes in front of him, bro. Kyron had a great season last year. I don't think he's as talented as a Jahmyr Gibbs, as a Saquon, as a Ramondre, as a Josh Jacobs, as a James Cook.
You don't think he's talented as Ramondre?
No, I don't. Ramondre is a really good running back, bro.
Sheesh. I don't know about that.
In New England. You swap their roles, bro, and Ramondre has a better season than Jahmyr did last year.
Wait, what?
If you swap them, you swap Ramondre and Kyron.
Yeah.
Ramondre, I think, finishes higher than the RB4.
I don't think Ramondre provides as much as Kyron did.
I think he does.
If you swap it, man.
I think he does, bro. I think he's much better on the ground. Kyron is a better pass catcher for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think he's that much of a better pass catcher. I just think he's catching passes from Stafford, and Ramondre is catching passes from Mac Jones. There's levels to that. That's how I feel. That was your 7?
That's my 7.
My 7's Travis Etienne. We kind of talked about it, touched on it. I think the only thing I want to add on that is his rookie year, his big problem was fumbling the ball. He fumbled the ball 5 times. Last year, he didn't fumble the ball at all. So I think it shows his work ethic, his growth as a player. And I think RB7, he was the RB3 last year. So shout out Travis Etienne.
Travis Etienne, man, that's that guy. I mean, we just talked about him, so not much there.
You know why you might think I don't like him? Because I traded him for Waddle last year. One of the dumbest moves I ever made.
Yeah, you did.
So, but shout out Travis Etienne, man.
Travis Etienne. Got to get the Etienne jersey.
Facts.
Put it in the back.
I'm not getting no Jag jersey. I'm sorry. You'll never catch me one of those.
Nah. Number 6 this is where I had Saquon Barkley.
Okay.
There's
a name you haven't said yet, and I'm kind of surprised.
Might be the next guy. Saquon Barkley, I think you had him a lot lower, right? You had him at 10, right?
Yeah, I had him at 10.
Yeah, so, I mean, Saquon Barkley, position he's in Philly, it's like we said before, I think in New York was a lot better position for him just because, he could get the ball a lot more. Now you got a rushing quarterback, a bunch of other guys on the receiving end to get attention from, too. I don't think he's going to be –
Jahan Dotson.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to get that much workload as he did before. Obviously, he's still going to be a top running back in the league. I think he still has the ability to run the ball and everything, get touches and touchdowns. But I'm at number 6.
Yeah, you could argue he's the best running back in the league, talent-wise.
Definitely.
Fantasy-wise, there's too many mouths to feed.
Too many.
My number 6 is a dude that I think I've been very controversial on this podcast. I've said he's a bum. Mm-hmm. And now I say he's number 6, and that's Joe Mixon. I'm not super high on Joe Mixon, the player, but I just think next year, when we get to the red zone, the Houston Texans, we're going to run the ball. He's the clear-cut red zone guy in Houston next year.
Not Cam Akers?
No. Shout out Cam, though. Shout out Cam Akers because he's definitely going to take some of those. Uh-huh. But I don't expect him to have a big yardage year. I just think he could have 14, 15 touchdowns. Mm-hmm. And I think that's enough to get you. I mean, we saw Raheem, who did have a big yardage year, but 18 touchdowns will get you the second best running back in the year. Yeah. So I think Joe Mixon, 13, 14, 15 could get him to finish as the running back 6.
Okay. I feel like Joe Mixon was another guy that I feel like you weren't as high on.
I wasn't, because I don't think he's that good of a running back.
Uh-huh.
I really do. I mean, I think he's obviously a good running back, but he's not in a top 6 tier.
Yeah.
But I just think them being such a great I think the Texans are going to be the best offense in the NFL next year. And maybe there's bias there, maybe there's not. But I just think them being that good and him being their red zone guy is going to lead to numbers. Kind of like Gus Edwards last year, where he put up so many touchdowns. He's undeniable. Except Mixon's a better running back than Gus.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, honestly, that's like not that much of a debate. You could definitely debate over that as
Yeah.
the Texans as the best offense. But funny thing is, I actually don't have Joe Mixon on my list.
Really? I thought that's the dude that I
That's the
thought
guy
you were
you're thinking
saying.
about?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I thought you
so-
were gonna have him high.
Yeah.
Why?
Why? I mean,
Say you forgot him, Will.
I didn't forget him. I just think that
You thought about him? You put Zach Moss over him willingly?
definitely.
Oh, dude, I would bet you good money on that. I would bet you everything you
Dude,
got
I
on
mean,
that one.
he's still a good running back, definitely. I think he'd be 21. I think he'd be right off that list. But it's just like, the position he's in Houston, so much attention, so many weapons around. It's like he's still going to be that running back, right? Running back one. But
Is that not the same thing for Zach Moss? Except Joe Mixon is gonna be the red zone guy, and Zach Moss might not be the running back one.
Zach Moss will be the running back one.
I don't know, brother.
That's my take. We'll look back onto this a year later.
Do the Texans have a better receiver than Jamar? Is there something I'm missing?
Jamar's better.
Duh. So that's what I'm saying. Like they got weapons there too, and
2 weapons.
I think they
You
got.
guys,
they got guys.
you guys got a lot of guys.
We
You guys
got
a
3
lot.
weapons.
Maybe even more than that.
And D Schultz, baby.
Maybe even more than that.
Big Schultz and Joe Mixon.
Damian Pierce? Is Damian Pierce gone?
He's ass. I mean, not ass. He's the most like. He'll have a game where I'm like, bro, Damian Pierce is back.
Yeah.
And then he'll have a game where it's
He's
like
gone.
Mark Sanchez butt fumbles.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of disappointing with him, honestly. I hope he bounces back from his career, though.
I do too, but I think Joe Mixon has to be on the top 20 list. Like he was a running back 6 last year, running back 14 the year before that, and
Yeah.
he's in a better situation now, I think.
Yeah. I mean, similar, definitely.
Better.
RB5. I feel like you might laugh at me like this, but I really like this guy. This is where I had Josh Jacobs. Top 5, baby.
I'm not
Top
mad at that
5.
because, like I said, I do think he has like a ceiling of a number 1 dude.
Definitely, bro. All right, bro. So, obviously, he finished as the RB1 before in 2022.
Yup.
And that was the only season where he played all games.
Okay.
Yeah, so, I mean, look back every season he's played. He's missed games. I think if he plays every game this season for Green Bay, he's going to take off, man. You're looking back at the 2022 season, he has 1,653 yards.
It's crazy.
Just crazy numbers, man. 12 touchdowns, too. I think he could definitely repeat that if he plays all his games. I know the Raiders had like a top 10 offensive line at that year. Packers are kind of roaming around the same range. I know they did lose a couple guys. They lost John Runyon and Yosh Nijman, which were
Is he Chinese?
no, I just don't know why I said it like that. But he's 2 tackles, 2 starting tackles that they lost. But they also drafted one, right? So they drafted Morgan. So I think Josh Jacobs could definitely do it with this offense.
I think he can do it too. I'm not gonna say he can't do it. I'm not as high on him, and I'm not mad at you for putting him at 5. I have a surprising number 5 too.
Let's see it.
I have Breece Hall here. Breece Hall at number 5. I just really like, and coming into the year, I wouldn't have expected this, but I really like Braylon Allen. They're back up there. I think he is a threat for sure.
You saw a video of him warming up.
He's good.
He's pretty jacked, I'm not gonna lie.
Uh-huh.
But he's not Audric Estime. He's not Audric Estime jacked.
No, but Audric Estime, he's better than Audric Estime, though. He had lower rushing yards per game last year than the year before that. I think his season last year was kind of overrated. He finished as the running back 7. It felt like he missed more games than he did, but he played 16 games last year.
Yeah.
He didn't hit 1,000 yards. He only had 9 touchdowns. Like, obviously, Breece Hall's ceiling is the RB1. But Breece Hall's floor is probably like the RB 10, 11. The offense is definitely going to be better next year for sure. But I don't know. I like the other 4 guys I have ahead of him better.
Okay. I'm not mad at that, honestly, because I have Breece Hall number 4.
Okay.
So I'm kind of like on the same range as to what you're talking about. Breece Hall, I did actually have him in fantasy last year, so I know that the games he'd have games where like he'd go for like 20 fantasy points. Next game he'd have like 9. So it's like he was kind of that inconsistent back. Obviously, you mentioned Braylon Allen they drafted. I think he's gonna come in and take some workload off too. But Breece Hall, he's still a great running back. Still top 5 in my opinion.
I think the running back 9 games also. I mean, where he had 9 points. I think those games were more because the Jets' offense was bad. Like Aaron Rodgers definitely, as much as I talk shit on him and hate on him, Aaron Rodgers is gonna elevate that team.
Definitely.
So yeah, I mean I agree with you there. My running back 4. Now you might not like this. Is Derrick Henry the king? The running back 5 last year. The running back 3 the year before that. There's just so many factors that I feel like. I know age maybe hurts Derrick Henry, but as far as like, if you look at on paper, bro, he's still Derrick Henry. Lamar's running backs always lead the league in yards per carry because he's such a threat as the run. And if Derrick Henry doesn't have a good year, that means Lamar's going to have an amazing year. Like, if they're playing Henry harder on the options, Lamar's going to cook next year.
He's going to cook.
He's going to cook.
Lamar's going to cook. I don't think Henry's going to cook as much, though.
Gus Edwards had 13 touchdowns last year, bro. 13 for Gus.
Yeah.
Fat-ass, untalented Gus. Derrick Henry is not a fat-ass. Derrick Henry is the most talented rusher in the NFL.
I think Lamar's going to take those rushing touchdowns.
But he didn't take them from Gus. So, like, why the fuck would you take running back touchdowns from Derrick Henry and not take them from Gus Edwards, who's a bum?
Could be the way of, like, reading the defense, you know? They could be more towards Derrick Henry when they're in the red zone, feeding to him.
I'm sorry, but you would have to have a Madden Ultimate Team defense out there for me to not hand the ball off to Derrick Henry. Like, Derrick Henry is that guy.
Like obviously, like, within the 5-yard line, you're going to give it to Derrick Henry, but that's not always going to be the case, you know?
I'm not saying it's always going to be the case.
Yeah.
But I'm saying Gus Edwards had 13 touchdowns last year. Derrick Henry – and Gus Edwards isn't the type to break off big plays. We've seen Derrick Henry do that before. You know? For the last 5 years, he finished in the top 5. I think his ceiling next year is the RB1. I think his floor is like the RB7, 8.
I mean, I don't know. I guess I'm just a solidified Derrick Henry hater.
It's locked in, I guess.
Yeah. Ever since I stopped drafting him in fantasy, so.
Ever since you put Adric Estime over him.
He's actually my top. No, I'm just kidding. Number 3 is where I had McCaffrey.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Why?
Dude, it just scares me, man. And I think injuries, man, it just scares me. I don't know if he's gonna play a whole full season. You know, I feel like the Niners, they're at a state where it's like, it might be the downfall for them.
Whoa.
For the Niners, like I don't think Debo, and I had Debo on the last top 25 list. I feel like after this week, I don't know if I'm as high on him anymore as like a good receiver. And also Ayuk, what if he gets traded? And it's like, you know, what you really have is always like McCaffrey, and like if you like overwork McCaffrey, that's gonna lead him to getting possibly injured. I think he's gonna play most of the season, that's for sure. If he plays all games, I think RB1 for sure. I think we could both agree with it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to spoil my list, but
yeah, I think we could both agree with that. I'm just predicting. And actually, I don't wish this upon him, but I'm just like, you know, I don't see him playing a whole full season, you know.
Yeah.
I don't think he's done that like many times in his career. Play a full season. I think there's like no way.
In 2022, he did.
That's only one season though, right?
2017, he did. 2018, he did. 2019, he did.
And that's like almost like over 5 years ago. So it's like, you know.
You're a hater.
I just hate old running backs, man.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I think it's more likely for him to miss games than play every game. Mm-hmm. But I just think, bro, when he plays, like, he averages 91 yards a game.
Yeah.
He had how many touchdowns last year? 21 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Like.
No, definitely. When he plays, he's the best running back on the field.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I'm not mad at him at 3, though. I think we have the same top 3, and I think these other 3 dudes have
these
RB1 ceilings.
Definitely.
My number 3, though, is Bijan Robinson.
Uh-huh.
I think, first off, when you compare him to the RB1 and RB2 that I have here.
Before we say anything, we have the same exact 2-1.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, so, I mean, you kind of know what's going on, but
yeah.
When you compare him to the 2 and the 1, like, you talked about McCaffrey already. I have McCaffrey as my number 1 running back. Spoiler alert, sorry. But McCaffrey's done it before, Bijan hasn't. And I need to see Bijan do it before I could put him over the next 2 guys. I think the offense should move down the field next year, so he should get more touchdowns. I think they'll lean less on Algier because they actually have a capable coach. He only had 4 rushing touchdowns last year, and he was the RB12. Like, we know Bijan Robinson could be the best running back in the league. It's just kind of when is he going to break out. And I think we've talked about before you saying his second year could be his Jonathan Taylor year.
Definitely.
So I wouldn't be surprised if he does that, but he's my RB3. I just need to see it before I put him over these 2 established guys.
No, definitely. Like you said, I had Bijan number 2. So it's like Bijan's just the position he's in Atlanta. Kirk at the quarterback, new offensive system. I think, he could potentially be the RB1 too. So it's like, his sophomore season at Atlanta, he could definitely break off. I think he didn't get 1,000 rushing yards last year, but he's definitely gonna get this year. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I think touchdowns will go up as well. I don't think there's gonna be times where Tyler Algier is really gonna become a problem, even though he's still a great running back. I think Bijan's still gonna be that guy for sure to go with. So I completely agree with that.
Then trade Algier, bro, in our fantasy league because you're holding off on us.
And I just need to get rid of Hollywood Brown first.
Okay. My number 2, this is where I had Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing that's your number 1 now?
That's my number 1.
I believe in Jonathan Taylor, bro. Healthy Jonathan Taylor had 2,100 yards. He averaged 106 yards per carry, 20 touchdowns. So he damn near had a better year than McCaffrey did last year. And McCaffrey was hyped out of the moon last year. Maybe it's racism, maybe it's not. But healthy Jonathan Taylor might be the best running back in the NFL.
Yeah.
I mean,
no doubt.
All he has to do is overtake McCaffrey, and he could do that. And the Colts' offense should be a lot better this year than last year. And Jonathan Taylor's having a full training camp, a full year to heal up. There's no more contract talks like the year before. So I think this Jonathan Taylor, we're finally going to get Jonathan Taylor back, and I'm looking forward to it.
Definitely. And I think a lot of people look at, like, the last year, and they thought, like, they look at Jonathan Taylor, and they see, like, he's been injured before with his ankle injury. But it's like he's had so much time to rest with that contract holdout. Like, he's back. Yeah. He's back to his normal shape. And like you said, I have him as my RB1. Dude, he's only 25 years old. He's been in the league for 4 years. Only played a full season in 2021 where he was the RB1.
Yes.
So if he plays a whole season again, honestly, he could get RB1 again.
And Zach Moss isn't there anymore.
Zach Moss.
Who's his competition this year? Who's the running back
Hole?
too?
Yeah.
Evan Hole. 2023 Playbook Sports legend Evan Hole.
Yes,
it's Trey Sermon, Tyler Goodson, and Evan Hole, bro.
Yeah.
So
you got no comp in the backfield. Jonathan Taylor's just going to be that guy. I think Anthony Richardson's going to help him too.
Yeah.
A lot of other receiving weapons to kind of look at too. So that's really going to offload a lot of the attention from him. There's definitely going to be those games where he drops 40 fantasy points.
For sure. My number 1's McCaffrey. I didn't take notes on McCaffrey, bro. Like, you guys know what McCaffrey is. I don't got to explain it to you. You're not a kid. If you're watching this fantasy video, you know ball. Simple as that. Yeah. I mean, let me know what you guys think at home. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, and follow. We'll let them know what they need to do.
Y'all need to run the play, baby.
Run it.